All right. Hey, everyone. This isn't technically meant to be an Iron and Anvil lounge. I didn't even really intend to do a live today. I didn't get time to do a video this week, so I'm gonna do a bit of a live for you guys. And I figured it's a good time to go over something that I wanted to go over but didn't get a chance earlier because I was busy with Outer World stuff. We're gonna go over the Corvette building in No Man's Sky a little bit. We're just gonna build a Corvette this stream, and I'll kind of show off some of the features of the system and talk about them. So, yeah, that's the plan today. If anyone shows up for the stream, you're welcome to pop in. I'll try and check the chat from time to time, but otherwise, I'm just gonna post it, and you guys can sort of watch it later on. I might do some editing on another version and post it as a video. But anyway, yeah, so that's what we're doing tonight. I got my buddy here with me, the Moon Man. He's gonna watch us and stare really creepily at us as we build. So, keep an eye out for that. And, it's Mazer's choice, right? All right. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. Let's get into the game a little bit, and then we'll, so right now I'm on my frigate. This is my current Corvette, by the way, just so you guys can see. I got a bunch of them. I made an entire collection, but I'm really into this trend of having, like, outdoor space on your, I got a little bar here, outdoor space on your Corvette. So you can see I've got, I'm out in the darkest space right now. This is my, my frigate, whatever you call it. Freighter, because the frigates are the little ships orbiting, right? Sorry, my setup's not great right now. I had to do this really on the fly, so. We're gonna go to the space station, and we're gonna start building. Now, I do have this on basically on creative mode for building because I don't have to mess around with going to find parts and things like that. But maybe I will describe some of the things you have to do to find parts. So, for those of you who don't know, who haven't really engaged with this system all that much, in order to get your Corvette parts, you have to find a planet with salvageable scrap on it, and then you just go there and shoot the scrap, and you get frigate parts and other things too. That's the quickest way. You can buy them here. I'll show you some of how the interface works a little bit. All right, let's see. I gotta pause the game. Well, not pause, but stop the game to monitor the chat when I have to do that. So. Bear with me, I might not see messages as you send them. Where are we? Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do some administrative stuff here. Can you guys hear I think the app audio is working. All right. If it's not, if anyone pops in and the app audio is not working, tell me, but I'm not that concerned about it. I'm going to be talking over the whole thing anyway. All right. So, those of you who don't know, just as a brief introduction to the system, this is the Corvette building station. You find them at the end of the regular launch pad in the space station. I think there's 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them in each space station. So there's your interface. Now, one thing that is really handy, once you get your Corvette parts, you can come and you can stash them in here. You see I got a bunch of these things here. I don't even be able to show you, but yeah, once you get a bunch and your inventory starts to fill up, you can pop into a space station and fill up this cache inventory with your frigate parts. So that's really handy. Now I ran the last two expeditions, so I got some unique Corvette parts that I can use. All right. Well, let's start. Create a new Corvette. Now the thing about Corvette building is you can just figure out what you want to do on the go, or I mean, I kind of wouldn't mind figuring out what kind of ship I want to build here. So most of my ships I've built for speed, combat. I built a couple of decorative ones and 1 or 2 that are sort of in between. But let's see. Do I want to go really big? We might as well go really big, right, since we're in here. So this is basically like, this works kind of like your building menu when you're using the build cam. So we're going to open up. We can see all the parts here we've got. Access to. They recently added some new ones too. So you got the Infraknife platform. This cyclotron defense system is really fun. This Deadeye cannon comes from an expedition, so that's pretty fun. These are engine parts. Let's see. Like I said, I'm on creative, so it doesn't matter whether I have the bits or not right now, but it'll pull from your cache that I showed you earlier. So the first thing we got to do is we got to build landing gear. Now, we got some cool options here. We got these sort of side-mounted thrusters we could do. We got this sort of standard landing gear. Now, when you buy parts, these are the type of landing gear that you'll get. They're the most common. Mag field landing thrusters will give you a bit of a hover kind of action. And then they introduced these hydraulic legs. I want to mess with these. I haven't messed with these too much yet. All right, so let's see. I like sleek, but I'm not sure about the overall shape we want to go with. I kind of like it when the cockpit is nestled in between other bits and pieces. So let's do this. Space there and there. And then maybe we'll go there and there. And we've got these nice long landing thrusters, landing legs. Now the thing about this system is you can only install really 3 or 4, and I forget the exact number, so forgive me on that, but of each 3 or 4 of each type of item before they start. So you can see these items each give boosts and bonuses. So like this landing gear, well, you can see it's already off. The landing gear gives you like thruster, like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like landing fuel, you know, when you have to take off fuel. That's what I'm looking for. So it reduces, the more landing gear you have, the less takeoff fuel you'll have to use, the quicker your takeoff is sometimes. So each of these different ones has different bonuses to that. Now these down here are engines, and each of them you can see gives different sort of stats. Boost, maneuverability, pulse drive, fuel efficiency. You can only add, I think, 3 pieces of any of these, what's the word I'm looking for, categories, before it stops giving bonuses. So you can load up your ship with like 10 different thrusters if you want, but you're only going to get bonuses from, I think, the first 3 that you put on there, right? So some of this is going to be just decorative. Right now, we're in the we're still adding necessary modules, so we're not quite there yet. Let's see. Ambassador class, Thunderbird, and Titan. So these you don't know. These are the 3 different types of exterior and interiors that you can add. The Ambassador class is really cool. It sort of gives you that like 1970s alien vibe, which I think is what it was. Actually, it's definitely what it was modeled after. Thunderbird is sort of like a military-esque thing, and then Titan gives you these sort of like bare bones interiors. I don't do too much. Let's do a little bit of all of them. Let's say so for these modules, let's go Ambassador. You can see. So the building, it's all snap to. You can't really change the snapping of things in this system, unlike with the regular build system. Now, there. So we kind of got a bit of a silhouette of a ship going on here that I think is going to be sort of cool. Let's add in our cockpit. So it tells you here in the ship validation menu the things that you don't have that you need, right? So, bear with me, just doing some... I'm checking my audio levels. The audio on this is kind of messed up, so... right now, let's try the cockpit. You know, something here that's not quite gelling for me. Well, you know what? Hang on. Let's try and mess around. See, we don't want to make it too wide. Now, here's the thing that's really cool about this system. The wider you make your ship, the more difficult it will be to maneuver, and that's a really cool thing. All my ships, I currently use this Titan class cockpit. It's really kind of it's like a military. Well, you can see it discusses it a little bit, but it gives you boost maneuverability 5 and 2, 6 and 2. 6 and 2. Let me think. Let's go with Thunderbird. I like the look of the Thunderbird here. Now, something that I always go with is I like when the entrance to my ship is in line with my cockpit. You don't have to do that, and there are lots of reasons not to. You can make offset ships. You can make all kinds of cool things. But here, I do want to make that a feature of this ship. So... now we got our cockpit. Let's see. So we need, what do we need? We need a reactor, thrusters, access way, that's the entrance, and a weapon systems to make a functional ship. We're going to go way beyond that, don't worry. Let's see. Now, do I want it right here, or do I want to do... So we got these access ways. There's 3 different types of access ways. Titan class, Ambassador class, which I think we're going to use just because we're messing around with Ambassador modules. And then this Thunderbird landing bay, which is not a ramp. It's a little platform that goes up and down, and you can kind of open it and exit. It's actually really handy. I might put one on this ship, but I'm not going to make that my main access. So you can see, now without going to... Oops, let's get rid of that. You can kind of see what I've gone with here, what I've done here. Kind of get into the interior. You can see the layout a little bit. I like this. This is not bad. So you can see what I mean about the alien-inspired interiors here with these Ambassador class walkways. Now, let's see. We're going to pop on... So we need thrusters, a reactor, and weapon systems. Now, what do I want to do for it? Let's try some weapon systems here. Where do I want my weapons to sit? Now, you can kind of up these a bit. Now, Infraknife is my favorite weapon system, but I might go with something a little different on this guy. Let's do Cyclotron. Let's make this a big, heavy, like a blaster ship, huh? All right. So, where do we want to put them? We can put them... I like putting weapon systems sort of underslung a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. You can see kind of what we're going for. Now, this is going to be a bit of a bulky ship. I tend to go with less bulky ships generally, but I'm not too worried about that right now. Let's keep it to 1 for now, and then we can add more when we... as we decorate more. Now, you can add all of these on here, and it will give you access to all of these different weapons. The torpedo is your rocket launcher. The photon cannon array is your photon cannon. The Deadeye cannon is, I believe, the... Oh, I forget the name. It's that like weird ship shotgunny thing. Phase beam is your phase beam. Cyclotron is your cyclotron, and Infraknife is your Infraknife. Now, we got a weapon system. So we need a reactor, and we need thrusters. Now... I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the layout of this ship. Maybe we'll put the reactor somewhere on top. Maybe right here. So what kind of reactor do we want? These guys I like because it automatically recharges your takeoff and your launch booster, which is good. That's shield strength. Oh, we're losing a guy. We're losing a... Almost had a man down there. Gives you boost and maneuver... What does this guy give you? Hyperdrive range. So this one... So you can see the 4 different reactor types we've got here. The Zenith... powers your hyperdrive. The Medusa gives you boost and maneuverability. The Azimuth class gives you pulse drive efficiency and messes with your launch characteristics. I always put one of these on my ship because I always want automatic recharging of my launch thrusters. And then the Ceto class increases your shields. We're not going to do a lot of combat in this ship, so let's do an Azimuth, and let's put it right here. And that gives us a few interesting options when we start to decorate this thing a little later. Now, the thing about decorating in this system is that you only have 100 pieces total to your ship. Excuse me. Oh, jeez. Sorry. So we want to be careful. Plus, we can add decor later in the regular build menu. Oh, jeez. Sorry, it's dry in here. All right. So what did I say? We need thrusters now. So we got a whole wide array of types of thrusters we can put on this thing. Let's have a look at them. So maneuverability and boost. That's good maneuverability and boost. Thunderbird, boost, maneuverability, pulse drive. So you guys who are watching this now and have watched some of my previous No Man's Sky videos might recognize in this system something that I discussed earlier in my video on the crafting system in No Man's Sky, which is that the shipbuilding felt very limited. This new system is basically exactly what I was looking for. Unfortunately, you can't do it with your regular ships, but because that system is still the same. But this gives you a whole new range of options for building ships. And there are people that go and, go onto programs like Blender, And for those of you guys who use the No Man's Sky service bot, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And create amazing ships on Blender and then import them and create, like, you know, Death Stars and Starfighters and things like that. You can't create normally in game. It's really cool. Some people are also really good at glitch building, which I'm not good at in No Man's Sky. So yeah, this solves a lot of problems for me. I'm really happy with this system. So the Ambassador thruster, let's see, pulse drive. That's actually pretty decent. 13 boost, although this gives us 20 boost. Maneuverability 9. Maneuverability 4. What do we got here? Maneuverability 4, boost 11. Pulse drive efficiency 13. So these are all things, depending on what we're doing, we want to take into range. And some of these are good for, you know, hyperdrive. I think there's a couple of good, although that's more with the reactors than these guys. Maneuverability. I like maneuverability. Boost is good. Boost gets us places. Let's see. Boost 14. Boost 13. Boost 11. So we can put 3 thrusters on before we essentially stop getting the benefit of them. So I don't usually up my boost. So let's go with boost. Boost is... Do we want to put these sort of here, maybe? A lot of options. How sleek do we want this guy? We don't have to go super sleek. And as you can see, as we change the bits and pieces, or as we add more bits and pieces, the bonuses change. So you can see it went from 16 maneuverability for the first one or from 20 for the first one down to 16. The last one added me 16 instead of 20. So it's not all, you know, on par with each other. Now let's add a different type of booster here. I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna add. Excuse me. Sorry, I got a really bad cough right now. I don't have a really bad cough, but so that thing I just added is a little bit of a decorative piece, a joint. And onto that, I'm gonna pop one of, let's see, boost 11, boost 11. That's going to change when I go to put it on to boost 11. What is that? Boost 11, longshore boost 11, boost and maneuver. That's not bad, actually. Boost pulse drive. Let's put the firebox thruster on this. All right, that's pretty sweet. That looks pretty good. I like it. So now you can see I've got the thruster still. I got another thruster I could put on. But now that I've added 3, it no longer shows the bonuses. So that means that any more that I add will be purely decorative. They won't actually add a bonus to my ship. All right. So do we have all the... Yeah, so now we've got all the necessary bits and pieces. You can see in the ship finalization menu, it shows us the general stats of our ship currently, as they currently are. We've got relatively low damage potential, not bad shield strength, hyperdrive range sucks, but it's something, and then good maneuverability. So we're going to start adding a few more bits. So there are some more functional bits we can add here too. Now, I didn't go over these. In here, you can see we've got these shield modifications that we can add. So this is gives us 9 shield strength, 15 shield strength. We like that. 11, 7, and 8. These are kind of clunky, but I like the shield strength bonuses. So we can get, some of these parts do kind of mix with one another a little bit, which I like. Let's pop those in there. Now we've got a good... Yeah, that's upped our shield strength a bit. So let's add some... let's start decorating a bit and see where we want to put things. So I've got these cool... I might add those later on. You can see I got these cool little wing things. These I got from doing an expedition. So... I don't think it's the current one. I think it's the last one that came out. So when that one comes around again, you want those parts, I suggest you do them. Or I suggest you do it, I should say. So I like to cover my cockpit a little bit, but not too much. I like the look of that. It gives it a sort of an armored, like a feeling of being armored. Now let's see. So the thing about these bits and pieces is that we can Now we can add, what's the word I'm looking for? We can add sort of flair. We can add, we can change the shape. It doesn't have to look so boxy. We can add sort of like, you know, wings and things onto the sides and make things actually look more sleek. So let's see. I kind of want to add. Now I'm going to show you something here. If you look down at the lower part of the menu here, you can see the adjustments you can do here. We can flip the part like that upside down using the R button, and that will actually make it an upside down version of itself. So we can do things like, I don't know if I want that upside down. Or you can see how that stuff kind of sits like that versus upside down. And the upside down, if you're making a ship with deck space, it's really good to use upside down parts. You can walk on those a lot easier. Okay, let's see. How do I want to do? I want to make a little bit of. I want to make this look a little bit sleek. So let's find some stuff we can do that with this. That looks kind of cool. See, I don't like the way they really need to make some in between parts where I can kind of. Because you got this sort of rectangular section attaching to a non-rectangular section. It looks bulky. I think they could fix that. Let's do something here. You know what? I'm going to add... so I have one reactor. I'm going to add two more. I'm going to add two of these guys because I like the look of them. Right here. Now you can see what I'm doing. This is a design, something I like to do in my designs. I tend to enclose a lot of the machinery. So it's not just sitting out in the open. Now let's see. What else can we do here? Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. Yeah, look at that. And then we got that space. We can put something in there later. So we got pretty much three of everything, which is good. Now we can still, now that we've reached our max, we can still add more of these parts for decoration, but they won't really give us the bonuses that they would, you know, or any bonus. It'll just be for appearance. So, let's see. So we can see now we got all these cool little shaped parts we can mess with. I like that for the back end of a ship. Gives it a bit of sleekness. Let's do that. You can see I'm starting to get a bit of a shape going on here. So, another thing that I don't like, some of these parts you can flip and some of them you can't. Really kind of annoying, in my opinion, honestly. Like, just give us the ability to, you know, flip parts. Now, those things I just added, sorry, I'm going all over the place, were from the wing modules. Those weren't just decorative. They actually have a function. They change the aerodynamics of your ship. Again, up to 3 of them. Ooh, I like that. That's kind of what I'm going for there. Yeah, so these, let's add a couple of these. Now we want to go for a bit of a sleek look. So you can see these will attach to that upper part and give us a really nice kind of cool. Guys, I'm liking the look of this ship. Look at this. This guy's coming along, huh? All right. Let's see. So, now, the only problem with these Atlas parts, you can't really color them like you can with the rest of your ship, which is a little bit annoying. Let's see. Don't want to do that. That would look kind of cool. Now, one thing you can add on the outside of your ship for later, you can add these windows of various types, where you can kind of stand in there and watch things go by and all that jazz. That's kind of fun. Let's make these little window modules. That way we have some, we can view things exterior to the ship as we're flying. That's a really fun bit of this system, is you can really, it's different than other methods of shipbuilding. Now, do I want to add any more interior modules? Like, I kind of do, honestly. But that would make this really bulky. How does that look? So you can see now, one thing this system lets you do is some of these parts sort of intersect with one another. And it lets you do some really cool stuff that you can normally only do with, a glitch build. We're going to do it here because I like the geometry of it. Look at that. We got a pretty sleek guy going on here. Now, one thing you tend to want to keep an eye on is when you're building inside your Corvette, you can add, storage space for stuff. And it has to go along the side wall of these modules. So I'm thinking we might not have enough space depending on what we want to do for that. So let's maybe add, I don't know. See, I don't know. I like the look of this guy. Yeah, you know what? We don't need to add more modules to it. I think we got enough interior space. I'm not doing a whole thing here, so I'm not going to show you do something crazy massive with this ship, so I don't really worry about that. Let's mess with let's give it a bit more of a sleek look if we can here. You might notice some of these features you can get that come from other types of ships. So these kind of fan things, you get a lot of these on the big, freighter ships and stuff like that. Other things like that. Let's see. Now I want to cover over that reactor with something, but I don't want to make things too. Although that's kind of cool looking. Look at that. It leaves it slightly open. I don't know. Oops. Oh, I just kicked my cam. Hang on. Make sure we're still. Oh, sorry. Things are still visible here. Yeah. All right. So, give me a second. I kind of want it to be completely covered, but I also want it to be a bit sleek. So maybe, no, it's not sleek enough for me. That's a single-sided piece. All right, give us a second here. Oh, that's good. That looks good. Yeah, there we go. And then we can put something over that just to give it a bit of a... Some of these parts I haven't really messed with too much. Alright, let's see now. Give me a sec here, guys. Sorry, I'm popping off briefly to do administrative stuff for a second. I apologize for that. It doesn't make for entertaining viewing, I'm sure. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks kind of... See, like I said, some of these bits and pieces can kind of go through each other, which, is a plus and can be a plus and a minus, really, when you're thinking about it. All right, so what do we want to add to the back? I want to add something to the back of that to give it a bit of a sleek look. What does that look like from the top? I kind of want to keep things sort of sleek looking. Oh yeah, that looks kind of cool. Excuse me, that looks kind of cool. All right. All right, that's not bad. Now, maybe we can pop a few more of our weapon systems on here now that we've got the general shape of the thing built. What do we want to do for weapons? We were going cyclotron, right? So, let's add a few more. Maybe under. Can we add a few more? Oh, yeah, we can. No, that puts it through the window. Let's see if we can get things going through things here. Oh, yeah, that's not bad. Kind of through the wing. That'll look good when it's firing. I like that. All right, let's do that. 3 of those. Now, the cool thing about this system is it actually does... The weapons do fire from where you add the hard points, which is cool because you can change the appearance of the way that your ship fires guns. All right, let's start messing around with some colors. Now we got a bit of a dark color scheme to this thing. So that's the G button here. What do we want to go? White and black. Don't know if I like that. That's a little... I like that orange, but not for this ship. Sort of bluey, dark gray and blue. See, I can't match the colors of the... Oh, that's not bad. Let's try that. Apply to entire Corvette. Some of the parts didn't match for some reason. I'm going to have to do that manually, weirdly. Oops. And you just do it the way you do when you're building. You just highlight it, hit the color button, and it'll do the last color you had on there. It's so weird. All right. Let's do it with these two. G... Alright, I like that it didn't... I like that the apply to entire Corvette didn't work at all. That's been an issue, actually. I like this guy. This is cool. Now, this ship's probably going to start off as a C or a B class ship. So... we're going to have to increase its level with nanites as we add things to it. But I'm going to show you some of the features once you get your ship built. So I think we're good. I think we got a cool looking ship here. So in order to finalize, now I'm on PC. I don't know what your controls are if you're on console. Finalize, you're going to hit the P button. Look at that. Big. I mean, it's bulky, but I love it. So you can see the weapons and things that we added are in the tech menu of this ship. So if you want to add more stuff, you're going to have to increase your tech slots, which you can do by getting ship upgrades and things like that. But just like any other ship, you can go to the vendor and buy tech and add it into those tech slots. So you can add, I could put an Infraknife on here without putting an Infraknife hardpoint. I just add the Infraknife unit to the ship, which is cool. Like, there's so many options with this system. And you can see it's going to be a C-class when we get it. So compare, again, just like getting another collection, we could swap it with our current ship, which I'm not going to do because I really like my current ship. We're going to add it to our collection. Let's go in and see what we got here. Ooh. I could put windows on the back there. Now, I'm going to show you something cool. Here's our cockpit. My first ambassador class ship, really. You can see the problem with some of the things going through other things. But I'm not too worried about that right now. I'll have to change the appearance of that kind of stuff later. Oh, no, I have to do it now. Alright, well, see, that's annoying. Yeah, it's these. Let's get rid of those. Let's see if maybe we can do that a bit better. So you can see sometimes you got to come and mess with things once you've... we don't want to do that again by mistake. Although, you know what I can do? You know what I bet I could do? Let's just add... I don't mess around with these too much. So you got these cool looking wire links, these bar links and things. Alright, now, oops, didn't mean to do that. Come back up here. Oh, we seem to have lost something. Oh, well, I'm not worried about that. Let's do that. Still pretty sleek. Not bad. Alright, let's re-add our windows that we had on here. We just won't get those side windows. Man, you know, people build some really crazy stuff. I'll show you that. I'll save that to show you later. All right, let's see what we've done here. Let's see if we fixed that issue. We should have. Yeah, look at that. So we got these windows we can kind of look out of. Now, hopefully these are fixed. These are the ones you can stand in. There's all kinds of different ones. I'm going to show you some of the other ones. So remember the backs here. We've got nothing on the backs here. So we can open up our build menu. And under the first option is Corvette specific stuff. Let's do these windows. I like these windows for the back. So now we got some windows in the back here. Yeah, that's not bad. All right. I could, if I had an upper floor, I could build stairs. I never really, you know what? I never really build an upper floor in my Corvettes except to put, my last one has the upper deck, the outside upper deck, but that's about it. So now, when you're in here, you can add things like units that do things. So here we're going to put our nutrition unit. So this is your standard No Man's Sky nutrition unit. It just looks, how to put this? It's made to look as it would fit in your ship, but it's the same as always. It accesses your ingredient storage and all that kind of fun stuff. You can cook on it. Now, you can only really add things like this to the sides of your Corvette. So, let's see. Another one is a crew berth. Now, this doesn't actually do anything, but it's fun to have a couple of these just for appearance's sake. The living wall gives you plants. Now, this you'll need. This is your refiner unit. Let's put one of these in here. We'll make this side sort of a crafting side. So we got our refiner, or our nutrient processor, and a refiner. Yeah, that's not bad. And then let's see what we can put over here. Let's put our crew berth in here. So this is our bed. Yeah. What else can we put in here? Let's maybe spruce that up with some... Oh, I can't seem to put any of those in right now. Okay, well, I'm not worried about that too much. Mission radar. Let's put it then in the other side here. Let's make this sort of an ops side. So the mission radar, the good thing about these ships is, as those of you know, you can bring people along with you and you can do various missions. Some for Quicksilver and some just for units and other rewards. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. Medipod. That's another one that doesn't really do anything, but it looks like a sick bed kind of thing. Kind of cool, you know. But it, again, just takes up space, doesn't do much. But it's good if you're having some kind of, you want to do like an RP kind of thing. You want to, you know, it's good decoration. Now, speaking of decoration, so these are our cargo racks. I'm not going to worry with too many of those right now. Speaking of decoration, so if we go over here to our, you'll recognize the rest of this from the regular build menu. You can build all kinds of other things in here. You can build tech. So I can put health stations, real health stations. Actually, let's put one of these by where we put the Medipod. You know, so now we actually have something we have a semi-functional medical facility here. Yeah? Ugh, I hate the... Okay. Good Lord, I hate this system. Let's put this on here, that's better. Yeah, I know the wall's partly covering it, but whatever. Look at that. You can pop it. So we got an actual working med bay now. Cool things you can put your standing planters. You can plant, once you do build a living wall, which for some reason I can't build right now, but when you do, you'll be able to add your plants and you can actually grow plants on your ship, which is cool. What else can I do? I could put in a weapon rack. That'll be handy. Again, you know what? Let's put that in the bedroom. All right, hang on. Now I can shrink things down to make them work better. That looks good. Yeah, not bad. All right. It's gonna be our little hangout spot. Since it's gonna be our little hangout spot, let's pop something cool in there. So we got access to not every decorative item that we've got, but a bunch. So let's see. What do we want to put into our room spot? Let's put an aquarium in here. I like aquariums. Aquaria. Oh, I can't resize it. That's annoying. That's going to take up too much space. Wayward cube. Let's put a cube in the corner here. Yeah, look at that. We got a little floating cube. We can... Oh, I'll show you that in a minute. The Wonder Projector, if you guys don't know, is amazing. So we got all these little options. I don't know. Let's put a carpet in here. You can see they need to work a few things out because bits and pieces of the floor kind of show through some of these flatter objects. But you know, those of you who play No Man's Sky regularly are going to be used to that. Now, there are ways to fix things like that. Like, I could put something on that wall and then hang something in front of it and then take the other thing away if I wanted to really get, wanted to really worry about it. But I don't. Let's put a little corner fireplace in here. How's that look? Yeah, that's kind of cozy. A little bit of an obstacle, but you know what? I don't... Nah, that's not really going to work. Let's put that somewhere else. Maybe here. That looks a little better. Yeah. Nice warm room. Weird floating cube. Really good sci-fi room. Alright, what else can we build in here? All this stuff. I can build I could build ancient ruins in here if I wanted. Let's see, a wheelbarrow. That doesn't really fit the setting of this particular ship. A lot of plants. A lot of weird plant-looking things. I could put a little pustule. Save that for later. We got our posters. Let's do a poster. I like the posters. The black hole poster is a good one. I like that. Again, they really need to work on some of the clipping of objects in this game. Dang it! Yeah, I think we can make that work. Ay, ay, ay. Whatever, good enough. Let's maybe make a little bit of an eating area in here. What if I put, let's see. Enough space to get around it, but... let's do a half counter. Can I get behind that? No, no. Let's see. Did that give me enough space to get behind it? What have I done? No. Kind of like that. That's not bad. Nope. Let's do it that way. And then there. Got a semi half counter there. That's not bad. Now I like to do this and pretend things are a bar. So let's Put some little drink taps here. Look at that, we got a bar tap. You really do a lot with some of these decorations, I gotta say. Alright. I don't want to spend all day decorating. I'm not gonna. This stream's not gonna be too long. I want to take it down to a planet and just show you guys how it functions a little bit. But I was gonna show you the Wonder Projector, wasn't I? So let's do that. So as you guys know, the Wonder Projector lets you project things that you put onto your Wonders list. Now, the fun thing about it is that you can project things through your ship. You can also resize these buggers really big. So let's do something cool. Whoop. Now, here's something that I think is really cool. When you're decorating, you can just bolt stuff onto the outside of your ship if you want, which is what I'm going to do here. Look at that. I might have to change the orientation of this guy, but I think... Now, what's that going to do? Well, let's have a look-see, shall we? Oh, we got a bunch. Let's do Squiddy. Let's make this a weird... Let's make this weird, guys. Look at that. Look at that. See, now we permanently have a squid flying over our ship. Now, one thing you could do is you can kind of embed these in the ship and the squid could sort of be like coming out of it. Unfortunately, in this case, the way I've built this ship, it would be through my cockpit, which would make it really difficult to pilot. So I don't want to do that. Let's see. Ooh, a med kit. You know what? You can. I will do the med unit underneath the ship. That's a good call. All right, where are we? In fact, this is the perfect ship for that because you can see we got it sort of blocked off with these wings here. So if we were in like a fight situation, we could get under here, and this would be a sort of a protective spot. So where are we? That's under tech. So let's pop one of these on here, and we're also going to pop a hazard protection unit on there, and we're going to do that on the other side too. Now this ship has gotten a lot more tactical, huh? All right, not bad, not bad. Let's do a little camera view of our ship. Let's see what we got here. I mean, that's pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Bulkier than I normally like them, but you know what? I can let it slide this time. All right. Let's go for a little journey, shall we? Now, in order to do this, I popped into this system brand new. So I don't know what we've got for planets here. That looks like a frozen planet. Aggressive sentinels? No, thanks. What else have we got here? This guy. I should have scanned with my freighter before I came in, or before I started. Oh, that looks like a... Alright, star bulb. Alright, a reliquary planet. Yeah, let's do that guy. Alright, I'm going to show you guys first. This is our camera angle. So, let's switch our weapon here. This is a cyclotron. You can see it's sort of alternating which of the hard points it fires from. So if we fire continuously, we get this sort of mix, which I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. It's not bad, but I would prefer if it kind of all fired from... I'd like to get a really good overwhelming overlier, honestly. All right. So one thing we can do here is boop, pop out of the pilot seat. And there, look at that. We're flying. Let's check out our windows that we put in here. We put these in here for a reason. Might as well use them. Look at that. And now we're entering our orbital flight. Now this video is about Corvettes, so I'm not going to show you some of the cool things. Like I could jump out of the back and jump down to that planet if I wanted to, which is really cool. Maybe we'll save that for another. Let's see. Now we got to come in here and land. Now I also don't have to land. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit above the ground here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll do that. So let's get a bit above the ground here, and then we can just exit the pilot seat again. Now the ship is going to automatically right like that. I just discovered this planet, you know. And then we got this ship flying perfectly upright. We can open up the hatch here, jump down if we wanted to, or this part I really like. We can just beam down, and I beamed down onto a hazardous planet. Of course I did. Watch out for that. So there's a guy up there now. Oh. Man, this is a weird planet. All right. I picked a really bad place to park, guys. I'm sorry. So there's our ship up there. You can see the wonder projected through it. Let's get to a good, which I really like. Just that guy, sorry, just doing admin stuff. All right, let's see. Beam aboard. Now, I've never tested it. I've never used these types of landing footings before, so I want to try them out. So let's find a nice spot to land here. It's not gonna drop us down a hole. Fix the ship. Jump down a ramp. Oh yeah, look at that. So this landing gear is taller than traditional landing of the other ones, so it gives you a bit more height, which is handy because I like putting stuff underneath my ship a lot. All right, let's name our guy, shall we? Let's name our ship. Oops. Jetpacking around Corvettes is really annoying, by the way. I'm just gonna. Alright, let's see. What do you want to name it? GDAC of the Moon? I don't know. Kind of looks a bit like a goth lobster. I don't know if I want to name it that, though. You know what? Goth lobster is good. Let's go goth lobster. We can change it later. Goth lobster. Nice. Alright. So, I'm kind of wondering if there's anything else I wanted to show you guys here before I call it for the night. Oh yeah, I want to show you some of the more of the functionality of the ship, or these ships. For those of you that haven't seen. So one of the things you can do. Let's say I want to go to the space station, and let's face here. One thing we can do is we can click on the autopilot management